Hey, folks, I'm Elysabeth Alfano, and it is Awesome Vegans again. I am in the house of Jason Wrobel. I'm in Jason Wrobel's home. He has 4 cats and 1 dog, so I'm super happy. Just really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you.
So let me set it up. This guy is pretty awesome. I'll say that if you hear some snorting, that's his little French bulldog. It's not me and it's not Jason, just like tiny heads up. So Jason started as a vegan chef, and we might have some Chicago connections together.
Oh, we have some, you dug deep.
I dug deep. Yeah. Are you from Chicago originally?
I grew up in Detroit.
Okay.
And the first closest big city that I could escape to, because
that'd be Chi-Town.
You grow up in Detroit. It's like I wasn't ready for New York. I wasn't ready for LA yet. Yeah. So when I just turned 21, I actually moved to Chicago, and I studied acting and theater and film directing there.
Oh, you did? Where were you?
I was at Columbia College.
Okay, doing that. Okay,
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if that was just your marketing communications major or also acting.
Well, the acting was there, the film was there, and then I ended up with a major in marketing and a minor in theater.
Awesome.
Which has all come to fruition in being an entrepreneur and being on camera and all the things we do.
Yes, and you are such a presence, and you realize this, everyone, in our interview today. I think you have such a great presence.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
But so he started there in Chicago as a vegan chef, and then he authored several books, Eternity and How to Live to 100. So I'm going to add to that. Today we're talking about how to live happily to 100.
Yes.
We're getting to that. And then he's really turned all of his passion and motivation, as you'll see here today in the interview, into life coaching and business coaching. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today, so I hope you stick with us, is tips for being well, tips for finding your purpose and for moving towards that. And with that in mind, I wanted to give Jason a little house gift. So this wonderful company called Adore Therapy, I love them. They do vegan and cruelty-free room spray products.
I need that.
Yes, okay, with 4 animals, maybe you do. And this one is sage and grapefruit, and it's meant to clear and express and clear your mind so that you can express your fullest potential. So I knew that we'd be doing this kind of talking today. I'm just going to take a little peek and open. I love the packaging.
Sexy.
Isn't it?
Wow.
Adore yourself. Adore Therapy. Adore yourself.
Wow.
And then you can, isn't this beautiful?
Wait, so is this a spray
This is
spray
a room
the room?
spray.
Oh, we got to use it right now.
Oh, okay. We'll go right ahead. This is a room.
Gorgeous.
Isn't this beautiful? Look at the packaging, and it's even written here. I just think it's beautiful.
Wow, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Like this is I am all about the aesthetics of things too.
This is so
and the
well
fact
packaged.
that this is in like a gold package and it's
So
shiny
beautiful.
and heavy and has like a nice feel. Now, of course, the smell is. Okay, let's try it.
Prepare yourself, cats. Grapefruit and sage is coming. Nice, right?
Thank you.
It does.
It's
clear
really
the room.
lovely, yeah. And you know what? In all seriousness, with 5 rescue animals, things get funky from time to time. So this is really sweet. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And thank you to Adore Therapy
Awesome.
for even making this.
Yay.
It's really wonderful.
Yay.
Thank you, Adore Therapy. Okay, let's get down into the nitty gritty. We're going to talk about your books and your favorite snacks and what you like to make. But
Awesome.
I want to read from your website. And you say,
what did I write? I wrote a lot of things there.
Seriously, people. My purpose is to contribute my passion, experience, talents, and wisdom to a world that desperately needs more healing, compassion, and unconditional love. To co-create a community of conscious, effective global citizens who embody positive communication, intentional self-actualization, creative contribution, and the practice of presence. Woo!
I no one's ever read that back to me.
Let's get into it, people. So what has brought you to this point? Because as you say, you started as an actor and a chef. Mm-hmm. So bring us to the present.
You know, I feel that it's important to get ever more clear about why we're here. And I feel like one of the big questions is what is my life's purpose? Why am I here?
Yes, I would agree.
And I just got really clear that underneath the performing and the artistry and the food and all the things, there was a common thread. And for me, I really do feel that my life's mission, which continues to unfold.
Of course.
The foundation of it is I want to increase joyfulness and connection and reduce suffering. So no matter what I am doing, it is with the aim of creating connection, maintaining connection, fostering joyfulness, and reducing the suffering for all sentient beings, because everyone understands not just what pain is, but what deep suffering is. And how can we understand what links us? That it's not just our suffering, it's our love, it's our joyfulness. And for me, it's just been an unfolding of the food has served that, of increasing joy and reducing suffering and creating healing, performing and doing music and the live events. You saw me speak live. Whenever I speak live, it is with that intention. And with doing life coaching and helping people get their wellness businesses off the ground, or helping vegan causes or animal rescue, no matter what I'm investing myself into, it's with that heartfulness of I want to help reduce suffering and increase joy, no matter what I'm doing.
So you bring up a couple great things here. You've mentioned intentionality. And it's always interesting to me, and I think it's hard. I mean, believe me, our lives are chaotic. I remember in college, we used to sort of do our schedules by the half an hour. And then by the time I got to my work life, it was by the 15-minute increment. And now it's like to the minute we're doing our schedules. And I think it's very hard to be intentional about one's own purpose if your life is just so busy. And so often we're living lives that don't match up. So many people can say, oh, I love animals. I love pets. I have dogs. And then, you're causing a lot of suffering, not intentionally. It's just we're all too busy to process it. There's so much suffering, a lot of it really needless, of pigs and cows and chickens and lambs. And so I think it's hard for our worldview to align, because we almost don't have the time to figure out what we want for ourselves. I don't know if you can speak to that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of distraction on this planet. And, people like to compare that perhaps life is more difficult now or more chaotic than it used to be. But I'm a big fan of Joseph Campbell. He's one of my favorite authors and mythologians. And one of my favorite quotes from him, he's like, look, the world has always been a mess. It's always been a mess.
It has. I agree
always.
with that.
There's always been chaos and concern and war and conflict and joy and pain and suffering and the whole totality of the human experience. We're just happen to experiencing it maybe with different technology now, or our consciousness is expanding. And my whole philosophy is this. I feel like people fill up their schedules, a lot of people, because it is easier to distract yourself. Are we allowed to swear on the podcast?
Go right ahead.
We're filling our schedules with bullshit.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it is so much easier to distract ourselves than get to the deepest, most painful, most revelatory explorations of the heart and mind. Like where the real work is, where the real juice is, where we really get to know who we are and what we're made of and what our purpose might be. And so we're living in an age where we're all connected through this podcast, through this Facebook Live feed. I see Eric and Art and so many great people here. But the other edge of that sword is we can use this to distract ourselves from what's real here. And we can buy into illusion and distraction, all those things. So I just think it's important for people to get quiet and get off technology and go into the forest and connect with animals and go into nature, because all of these layers of distraction and bullshit and illusion start to fade away, and we can start to wake up a little bit more.
And I think an unaligned life is a very painful life.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you're not in touch with what you're best at, what you're here to do on the planet, where you excel, where your skill set is, where your passions lie, when you're disconnected from that, you're disconnected from yourself, and that's painful.
Absolutely. And I think for a lot of people, the unexamined life is a painful life. But I really do believe that for each one of us, without getting deep into like past lives or karma, that's another podcast, that there's a beautiful intersection for us of what we're really, really excited and passionate about. What, money or not, we think about it. We research it online. We geek out on it. There's these passions, and there's an intersection of that, and also what the world really desperately needs.
Okay.
And if we can find the intersection of what we're passionate and excited about, and be of service to people and animals and the planet, that is the spot, whatever that intersection is. I
so agree. And I'm going to riff off of that, actually. I have something that I like to call the bingo effect. And that is where my passion meets my skill set. I feel like I'm 150% of myself. And when I do that, then I can serve the world wherever it needs me. Because I have that love and passion. at where I'm really good and it comes naturally and easily
Yes.
and where I want to be.
Yes.
I'll just digress and tell a little story, even though it's your interview, but you're gonna like this story. Okay, do you remember the crocodile hunter?
Oh, of course.
Oh.
Of course.
Okay, I was doing a job that I didn't like, and I was in Chicago. There's lots of improv in Chicago, and I saw on the internet somewhere that the crocodile hunter was interviewing for reality TV. Now, I'd never taken an acting class. I was not in the media. I was not doing anything even remotely close to this. I was in business. I had an MBA. I was doing that. And I thought, well, what the heck? I love animals and I love the crocodile hunter. Why don't I try out for the crocodile hunter? And so I flew to New York. And I got in line. I was there at 5 a.m. I was the first person in line. I'm not saying I was great. I'm just saying that they remember the first person and the last person and anybody who's good in between.
Yes.
I was the first person in line because I was so excited and was filled with actors. And I didn't know at that point that reality TV was really all actors. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm the only non-actor in line. And I have this interview with the director and with Steve Irwin, and they say, stick around. He's going to come back and talk to everybody and pull out snakes and crocodiles. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll stick around. So Steve Irwin calls me up from the audience of like 500 actors, and he says, come with me. I want you to hold my snake. I hold his 60-pound boa. It was gorgeous and yellow and it was fabulous. And he was explaining while I held out the boa what the snake does. And he was explaining that to the audience. And at the end, they had me sign all of these waivers, and our clip together on stage was the promo for his next television show.
No kidding.
After that, they pulled the television show because he was holding his baby while feeding a crocodile, and the media went crazy about it. The baby and the crocodile were not even remotely close, but the media got a hold of it. They ended up canceling the show. But it was then that I coined the phrase for myself, bingo effect. When your passion meets your skill set, usually people tell me to shut up. Here, he wanted to hear more of me. And then it was about animals, and I could talk and be with animals. I was so excited, I dropped my job that day, and I started media ever since. That's how I got to hear from that day. From I love him.
Amazing.
I love him. Rest in peace. And so, just a little, and this is Jason's interview. So, I just to say, you can do great things. I think when you find that intersection.
Yes, and also I think the willingness to be able to reinvent yourself. Because there's this, I think there's a misnomer in our culture, and I don't feel it's a great number of people who, you hear those interviews maybe with athletes or artists or race car drivers or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I knew at 5 years old what I wanted to do the rest of my life.
Okay.
And that's what they did.
Okay.
But I feel like that paradigm is not necessarily relevant to most people because we have multiple passions and we have multiple things we're good at. And to have the courage to say, if we get to the end of the road of something we've been doing and say, this isn't working anymore, maybe I'm not passionate about it anymore, to be able to pivot into something new, I think that takes guts. Mm-hmm. It takes guts, and it takes a lot of honesty to say, like, what's my highest excitement right now? Not 5 years ago, not 10 years ago, not when I was 5 years old. But in this moment, what am I really, really juiced about? Yeah,
and I think something important about that is, if you've ever gone hiking, you might hike for 3 days and love every minute of it. You get to the top, you're there 10 minutes. You're like, okay, took a picture, gotta go. But you gotta love the now.
Yeah, you have to.
Because you don't really know how it's gonna shake out in the end. You gotta love the now.
Yeah, and that's a great analogy about you hiking, getting to the top of the mountain. Because I really think that there's something endemic in our culture going on where people want to helicopter to the top of the mountain. Okay,
airlift down
0 to 60 real quick. I want all the money and the fame and the success and everything. Yeah. But it doesn't work that way because if you haven't built the stamina and the lung capacity to climb to the top of the mountain, if you have to walk back down you took a helicopter up there. It's going to be a really, really hard time getting back down that mountain.
It ain't going to work.
Yeah,
actually.
So I'm all about the slow. I'm about the slow build, playing the long game.
Oh, that's nice.
Enjoying the process is kind of what you're saying.
Yes, exactly right.
Not just getting to that top of the mountain, right? Like Martina Navratilova, amazing tennis player from the 70s and 80s.
Oh
right?
yeah, I know who she is.
She has a great quote where she says, "The moment of victory is too short to live for that and nothing else."
Yes.
And everyone's so focused on whatever your victory is. Animal liberation. We got to liberate all the animals. Or I want to make $1 million. Or I want to find my life partner. Yeah. Whatever the thing is for you, like we're so focused on that thing that we forget to enjoy the steps along the way, and we forget that the journey is actually the part that's going to show you who you really are.
Yeah, and therein lies the joy, I think. I want to talk to you more about that because we both feel like there's a lot of joy in cooking. But since we're quoting people, I'll also say Oprah has a great quote that I love, that your life's work is finding your life's work. And that could take your life, hence the quote. So
that's amazing.
You got to find that joy in discovering you. And once you connect to you, then I think you can be of service to a lot of people. But let's talk about cooking, because you first started out with cooking. And so what was it that drew you to cooking? Was it the animal welfare or the health perspectives or just the joy of cooking?
There were a lot of things. So when I first became vegan, my mom's on the feed actually. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
We both went vegan 20 years ago in 1998.
You both did?
Yeah. So well,
rock on, Mama.
Well, she was mostly vegetarian when she was pregnant with me, and I've been lactose intolerant since birth. So the first few years of my life, I was default vegan anyway, because that was the healthiest thing for me.
Yes.
But then 18 years old came, and I started re-examining my diet, and then right before my 21st birthday, I decided to be vegan, and then a few months later, she went. So cooking was an intrinsic part of, okay, if I'm going to choose this lifestyle, because I'm doing it out of ethics, and I'm doing it out of health, and I'm doing it out of animal rights and the environment, all of the reasons, then I need to be able to feed myself and do it healthfully. So when I decided to be vegan, my mom's first response was, okay, that's cool. I just want to make sure you do it and be healthy about it. So I just went on this rampage of research of finding out, okay, as a vegan, how do I get proper nutrition? What do I need to cook for myself? And then fast forward to 2005, I was doing acting and I was singing in bands and I was out here in LA. And I wasn't really making a whole lot of money doing either one of those things. I mean, it's the prototypical thing. Young guy comes out to LA, not making any money.
Sleeping on a couch. Yeah.
So I just decided to do something, I don't know, more established in 2005, be a vegan chef. Oh. Which is like, oh yeah, do something more secure.
Wildly not mainstream at the time.
In 2005, it was like, you're going to be a vegan chef. So I went to culinary school, and I got out of culinary school, and I flung myself into the whole cafe restaurant world for a couple years and decided that wasn't my highest passion because I was behind the scenes and I need to be in front. That's part of my personality. So that was really the thing, is I just wanted to learn a new art form. I was always passionate about food. I was always a foodie. But I wanted to really get into the mastery of how do you create a recipe? How do you put ingredients together? How do you really please people? Because I felt like my activism was through food.
I love that.
That was that, and a lot of people, oh, you need to come to this rally and do this thing, and I'm fine with whatever activism people want to do, but I felt like the biggest revelations I had with people was feeding them.
This is wonderful.
So that was my activism.
I love that. I recently interviewed the CEO and vice president of Upton's.
Yeah.
Upton's Natural in Chicago, actually.
Yeah.
And the vice president, Nicole, has a wonderful quote, and she says, there's many forms of activism, and for a lot of people in activism, they want to give the reasons that people should change their behavior. But their products give people the solution.
Yes.
So and your cooking does as well. So here's an easy way to help the environment, help your health, help animals, and feel better and spend less money by the food that you can create. So you're part of the solution, which is just its own form of activism.
Thank you. Yeah, that was what drew it to me. Is I looked at, okay, if people's minds can be opened, I saw two ways of doing it: making them laugh or feeding them. And then I started doing both. So when I started going out and doing demos, I was showing them, cooking techniques and recipes, but also like doing stand-up comedy at the same time. Because if people are laughing and they're with you, they have no defenses anymore. And then you can really, really, I think, start to speak to their heart and mind that way.
So you have two cooking books, or do you have three? Help me now.
No, I have one. I have 4 ebooks, 1 printed book, and a TV show.
Yes, and I want to get to the TV show immediately, but first let me just name off those books. So the books that I'm aware of, have I fallen to the wayside on my research? So you have Eternity.
Yes, that's the most recent one.
Which it looks like a beautiful book.
Yes.
More like a coffee table book almost,
I don't know. Most people have dog-eared the heck out of it, which I like even better. Like stained it, dog-eared it. It's great.
It's wonderful. And then you have Living to 100.
That's actually the TV show, How to Live to 100.
How to Live to 100.
Yes.
Okay, and then some ebooks, and I think they've come out recently.
They
some
have,
ebooks as well.
Yeah. I did Good Mood Foods earlier this year. Blissful, Balanced, and Badass. There's Simple Vegan Classics, which is my DVD. So yeah, there's some old school stuff out there too.
That's awesome. And how do we get all of those things? Amazon?
You can go to my website. Okay. I mean, yeah. Well, you can do the online courses and the ebooks and the DVD on my website. And then, Amazon's probably the best place for Eternity. And How to Live to 100, you can actually download episodes on iTunes.
Oh, awesome.
So if you search for How to Live to 100 and my name, all the episodes are available there. I think they're like $1 or maybe $2 to download the episode.
Okay, and that was on
Cooking Channel.
the Cooking Channel. And was I correct? Because we briefly sort of worked together at the Seed Conference. He was doing a demo and I was handling the culinary stage and introducing everybody. And I thought you said that maybe you were working on a new television show for kids. Do I have that wrong?
That's correct.
Oh, pray tell.
I can tell you this. I met with a potential producer recently, which is awesome.
Great.
Who has access to funding, and we're talking about doing it straight to digital because kids now they're not really watching TV anymore.
Correct.
They're watching everything on this.
Yes, they are.
So what we want to do is a direct to digital format because children and parents like they're doing this. They're doing computers.
Just like you guys are doing this.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I can tell you that much, that potential producer is happening. And there is potential funding lined up. I have the concept. I have the idea. I have the title. I have the characters.
Okay.
So now it's just like getting, the money and the funding figured out.
Okay, 2 quick questions, and you don't have to answer them.
Sure.
Animated, or is it a kids' cooking
live
show?
Action.
It's a live action show. Okay, so we'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, it's going to be live action.
So that should be very enticing to you all.
With puppets. That's all I'm
of
going to
course.
say. With puppets.
Of course, because who wouldn't have a live action show with puppets? With puppets?
With puppets.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I
of course.
wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, well, that's awesome. I will look for that. And if I can help you in any way.
Thank you.
Big fan.
I
So if I
that.
can, I don't know what I could do, but if I can do it, let me know.
Thank you.
But in the interim, we're going to go to Amazon.com and get Eternity, and then, of course, your website, and you can get digital cooking classes and ebooks. But I think you also have business and coaching classes. So I want to get into that. Okay, so I can see the attraction to food first for you personally, because you made the switch in 2005 to being vegan, and then also to bring joy to others. I mean, I feel that a lot from a Sicilian heritage. I want to cook for people. It's a natural way to give joy, and I love to be creative in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't like to follow recipes, actually. I have a Wednesday Facebook Live series that you guys all know about. And I cook every Wednesday, and I just look in my fridge and I say, okay, I'm making something from what's in my fridge this Wednesday, and I just do it live, and there you go.
I love it.
So it's very fun. There's a lot of creativity and stress release. Just chopping vegetables, huge stress relief.
It's a meditation,
It's a meditation. I really feel that way. Okay, but then how did you shift from cooking classes and cooking books to where you are now, and when did you make that switch?
It was a few years ago. It was right around late 2016. And the cookbook was out. It was going awesome. Things were going great. But I started to realize that I was becoming more passionate about focusing on other forms of nourishment. When we talk about food, all we think about is this, right?
Yes.
But food, I think, comes in many different forms. It comes in the thoughts we think. It comes in the relationships and the people we surround ourselves with. It comes with how much self-love or lack of self-love we've cultivated. So when we feed ourselves, it's the magazines we read, it's the TV shows we watch, it's the books we indulge in. It's food comes in so many different forms. And I started to get more passionate, and had been passionate as a meditator for many years and studying spirituality and self-development of, cool, this is one form of nourishment and this is amazing. But what are you feeding your head and your heart? Because I knew a lot of people who were like the healthiest eaters, right? But they were miserable. And so the question is, if this person is under the supposition that food is the solution, because a lot of people are like, just eat healthy.
Right, right.
But I think that that's doing a disservice to the other forms of healing we need on this planet. Because a lot of people are like, I'm eating the healthiest ever, but they're in toxic relationships or they still hate themselves. And to me, it's about a more holistic approach to healing and reducing suffering, where food is a major part of that foundation.
Yes.
But our level of mindfulness, our level of awareness, our level of self-love, the kind of relationships, the kind of input we're taking in from the things we surround ourselves with, that's as equally important in terms of nourishment.
So let's unpack that a little, because that's quite a lot. I think it's very easy to say, food, change my food, I'll get the health benefits, I get it. It's a very direct relationship. Now you're talking about a little bit more self-discovery, and how does one go about that?
I mean, I think it's, number one, I talked at the beginning of this about reducing distractions and stop going so fast in life. I feel like people are going 1,000 miles an hour, filling their calendar with all these things, because there's an unwillingness to just sit and be quiet. And I think meditation and just being quiet and like paying attention to the thoughts that are coming from our mind, just a basic meditation practice. And a lot of people are like, oh, do I need to get an altar and incense and the orange garb and no, just sit with your phone off and your computer off and just sit and close your eyes and be still and be quiet and see what comes up. And see what wants to arise. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm meditating so I can reduce like the negative thoughts in my life. I'm like, you're barking up the wrong tree. You're not going to eradicate the negative thoughts. The negative thoughts are always going to be there. The question is, can you love those negative thoughts? Can you let them go? Can you not believe what the mind is telling you? Because the thing is this is going to keep going no matter what.
I think this is super helpful. I hope you guys are listening.
It's going to keep going no matter what. The idea of meditation and mindfulness is not to turn this off. It's to be able to be okay with whatever arises. Like whatever arises, can you be okay with that? Can you choose and notice that as the observer of those thoughts, you're choosing whether to believe them or not? So I think the basis of this self-discovery is slowing down, being quiet, and really getting to know ourselves by just being still and seeing what comes up. Because, again, people can be the healthiest eaters in the world, but have the most toxic relationship to their mind. It's a totally different thing.
I think this is very interesting. There's an author named Martha Beck. Yeah. And she has a phrase that I love called receive, don't resist. So it sort of seems like what you're saying, you really have no control. I mean, I guess you can control your thoughts. I'm not saying that. But what happens to you in life? You walk out the door, you don't know if there's a car accident or traffic or, you don't have control over a lot of things. So rather than waste that stressful energy on trying to clamp down everything and have all this control over everything, just receive what comes your way. Don't resist it. You don't have to go with it. I think that's what you're saying. You don't have to go with negative thoughts, but just receive that they're there, acknowledge, and come to them from a place of loving understanding?
I think so. I mean, I'm a big believer in this. So I have a great mentor named Michael who I've been working with on mindfulness for many, many years now. And one of my favorite sort of containers that he sees the world with is what is good and to your advantage, whether or not you can see it in the moment.
I love that.
And a lot of people, we're fine when everything's going great. Everything's sunny. We've got a ton of money in our bank account. We have somebody who loves us in our life. We're eating the best food. We're having lots of sex, whatever. But the moment something goes wrong or we deem it's going wrong, we lose our marbles and we flip out, and all of the presence and all of the calm and all of the peacefulness goes right out the window. I've noticed there's two kinds of people in the world, generally speaking. There can be overlap and we have tendencies, but to either react to a situation or respond to it. You're talking about it, right? You walk out the door, you have no idea what's going to happen.
Right.
An example of this. So there are psychostatic people and psychokinetic people.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example,
Explain.
right? You drove here, right?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. So let's say you had a really, really important meeting after this. Let's say after this podcast, you were going to interview Oprah Winfrey up in Santa Barbara. Let's just pause at that because we talked about it, right?
Yes.
Now, that would be something that you're really excited, that you really want to be on time there for. That's an important interview, right? Like you're going to be in a certain state of mind to go to see Oprah.
Yes.
Now, let's say you go outside right now and the tires on your car are flat.
Right.
Now, a psychostatic person would go, oh my God, this is horrible. I have 1 hour and 10 minutes to get to Santa Barbara to interview Oprah. I cannot be late. It's Oprah Winfrey.
I would panic, yes, I would.
Okay, now, what a person would do, a psychostatic person, would sit there for 10 to 15 minutes bemoaning how life hates them, how everything is shitty in their lives. Why does this always happen to me? Every time I have something great in my life, this always happens. And guess what? The clock is ticking, and you need to be at an interview in an hour and 10 minutes in Santa Barbara. Your worry, your projection, your resisting what is, your victim consciousness is not changing the moment. It's not changing what is. So an alternative is a person that we call psychokinetic, where they come out and they go, oh, okay, tires are flat.
Plan B.
Is there there's no street cleaning. I can leave the car here. I've got AAA. No, I don't have AAA. I can call them later. They're open 24 hours. Okay, what can I do? You know what? I can actually I can take a ride share right now.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to do Uber or Lyft. And you know what? It's a little more expensive than I intended, but it's a write-off. It's a business write-off. I'm going to get there on time. It's a point of, do we default to our story and our belief systems and our victim consciousness, and this always happens to me in our past? Or do we say, there is something more important than that, which is to get to the interview with Oprah on time. I will deal with this later. And so people are either defaulting to their old story and spinning out and losing energy and losing their clarity, or they're saying, what wants to happen in this moment? And how can I be more effective with taking that action?
So I think this is really key, because I think as a society, we're losing general coping skills. And I think that's what you're talking about. A good friend of mine, Jay Kumar, whom I hope is listening now, he's always talking about how can we get society to get back some basic coping skills, because when life falls apart, and let's face it, people, it falls apart periodically, and that's not going to change, people lose it. And then they're not able to sort of function in a way in society that's kind to themselves and other people. And so basically you have a lot of people running around in the world just constantly losing it.
And then you have kind of a state of our general culture right now, which is
frenetic.
People needing to be right, people not willing to listen to each other. I'm right, you're wrong. I'll give you an example, and it might be controversial to people. I don't really care, because it's my perspective and it's all valid. All of our perspectives are valid. People are under the guise that because I'm a Democrat, because I'm vegan, because I'm a meditator, because I'm Jewish, because I'm Christian, because I'm whatever, I am a superior being to you. I'm more ethical, I'm more loving, I'm more conscious. And
more right.
I'm more right. And that is so much ego that creates so much separation, because what that does is you get into a room of people who think differently than you, who are hunters or Republicans or Muslims or carnivores or whatever it is, and we're like, they're wrong, I'm right, because I'm more ethical and I'm more clear and I'm more loving because I call myself this thing.
And I'm angry.
That is causing so much pain on this planet.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the endemic sources of pain and violence and separation on this planet, is because I call myself a certain thing, or eat a certain way, or worship a certain way, or vote a certain way, I'm a better person than you. And there's billions of people on this planet thinking that. And we've got to be better at catching ourselves, because it doesn't make us a better person. That's just, it's separation, it's ego.
So it's interesting hearing you talk. You're reminding me. Do you know Jasmine Singer? So Jasmine Singer, senior editor at Veg News, we had a conversation about how compassion for yourself first allows you to have compassion for other people. And when you're so busy that you can't nourish yourself, sort of in the ways that he's saying, so good food, of course, starts there, but we're talking about other ways too to nourish yourself, to see your negative thoughts, maybe not judge them, maybe not come down so hard on yourself, cut yourself a little slack. You know, that which is right is happening now. Accept where you are now. Enjoy the present. Some of these things that take some of the pressure off, for the love of veggie burgers. God, I mean, like chill a little bit, and when you show that to yourself, then you're able to give it to other people.
100.
But we do not have the time for self-respect anymore, which is so sad, self-love. And so we're not giving it to anybody else. And it's just a lot easier to say, I've defined a small little box. It's vegan, it's Democrat, it's to the left, or it's carnivore, it's, I don't know, ignoring climate change and Republicans to the right. And that's all we know. That's our box. Let's just stay there. It's the one easy thing we understand. Let's move on. The question I want to know, and the conversations I want to have are, and I talk about this because I've been in debates and interviews with paleo people before, right? And there's been this thing of the vegan and the paleo are going to debate. And I'm like, you know what I'm more interested in? I'm more interested in the 100 things we agree upon than the 3 things we disagree upon. Right.
And we so intently scrutinize the 3 or 4 or 5 things that we're like, well, this is completely different and you're full of crap and I'm right, rather than, in this example of paleo, right? Cool, you believe in environmental stewardship in your own version of that. You believe in organic food. You believe in non-GMO food. You believe in fair trade. You believe in fair wages. You believe in human rights. I could name 100 things.
Where vegans and paleo come together.
Any paleo expert, I can be like, we feel the exact same way. But we want to be divided through the media and culture on I eat meat, you don't, or vice versa, whatever. And so I'm more interested in, let me get in a room of Republican, Christian, carnivore gun enthusiasts and see what are they most afraid of in life? What keeps them up at night? What keeps them up? What are they concerned about their family and their life and their livelihood and their health? And have an authentic conversation where I don't need to be the one who's right because of what I believe. I actually feel like people should shut up more and listen.
I love that.
People should shut up more and just listen. If we were just to listen to each other with an open mind and an open heart, instead of needing to be right all the time, oh my God, so many problems in this world would have progress. Seriously.
I think that's so right. There's so much common ground between, again, I'll just say the left and the right, the Republicans and the Democrats, because that's so easy to do right now for the purposes of this conversation. There is so much common ground. I think, for example, we all love food. That's an easy common ground, which is why I love to cook for people. And most people, with the exception of some rare instances, most people love animals.
Yes.
Now, they may not know what's going on, or they may don't have time to think about it, and so they're making these, but very few people, when legislatively they have the opportunity, do they vote against animals?
Absolutely.
So I think there's a lot of common ground. Let me get to some tactical things here.
Here we go. Tactical.
Since we've got his life coaching highness right here, I want to get some good nuggets. I mean that affectionately. Okay. Give me some tips for living with clarity, because we're talking about getting rid of the distraction. Oh my gosh, easy to say, but then there's my phone, and there's my life, and there's my bills, and there's traffic, and I got kids, and holy gosh, help me.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, anchoring into your life mission, or what is the most important thing for you in life? Is it being fulfilled in your work? Is it losing the weight and finally feeling healthy?
Right.
Is it making sure that your family is provided for? Is it all of those things? I think so often we lose sight of our why. And you hear this a lot in motivational talking, right? But we lose sight of, like, why did I even start this? Why am I doing this? Why am I with this person? Why am I in this relationship? Why am I doing this for a profession? Why am I vegan? Why am I Democrat? Why am I Republican? People don't think about why they are choosing their choices. And I think we get so distracted, for a lot of us, myself included, because we forget why we started or why we chose that thing.
What it means to us.
Well, yeah, what is the deeper meaning of why I'm living this way, why I'm doing what I'm doing? So I think reminding ourselves of what the answer is to that question, why, anchors us in, okay, if I'm very clear about my why, right, then I know that. I'll give you an example of life right now. I'm shooting an online course with the Wanderlust people, the big yoga organization, in a few days, right?
Wonderful.
And so we're shooting for 3 days straight, long hours on set. You know what it's a lot of energy.
Right.
Now, what's in my highest good? My highest good, and the highest good, is to show up on set and to be of service as much as I can, to give people information and research and recipes and tools and meditations and all the things that
positive energy,
hopefully give them something that's going to be useful to their life, to bring them up, right? To raise their vibration, to create more health and joyfulness. Now, I know that in order to do that, that's my goal, that's my aim, that getting a good night's sleep and eating healthy and taking good care of myself the next few days before I go on set is important. Now, if someone calls me up and they're like, yo, dude, come to karaoke at midnight. It's going to be awesome. There's this girl you like there. She really wants to see you. Is that in my highest good? Not really. It doesn't mean it's bad, but it means that my aim of my life is to show up on set for 3 days, shooting 12 hours a day, and knock it out of the park and be the best version of myself, giving as much love and intuition and knowledge and wisdom, right? So sometimes in life, we lose sight of our aim because we're like, ooh, dinner party over here, bar mitzvah over here, karaoke over here, ooh, Game of Thrones is on. And people lose sight of why they are doing what they're doing and what is actually their highest good.
Yeah.
So to get clear, you have to get clear about why you are doing what you're doing and what you're choosing. And if you get distracted, practice bringing your focus. Practice saying no to things.
Yes, I love that.
When the no is connected to that highest good, and the no is connected to something greater. Because it's so easy. People pleasing is a really, and I'm saying this as a recovering people pleaser.
Yes.
Oh God, if I don't say yes to everything, then they're not going to love me. And if they don't love me, then I'm going to get abandoned because my dad abandoned me, and it's a childhood wound I haven't healed yet. And like we're just living with these wounds. You know. So the idea of how do we get clear is remembering why we're choosing what we're choosing.
I love that.
And be committed. And if we start to lose focus and get distracted, just practice saying no to things. Practice saying yes to the thing you're practice saying yes to the highest commitment. I think that's the only way things get done on this planet.
So that means spending time with yourself to figure out what that highest commitment is.
Yeah.
And allowing yourself the right to change as you build and grow and project. You'll have a different, maybe, agenda later.
Absolutely.
But when you know what it is that you're seeking out, you'll have a better chance of getting it.
100%.
And therein lies the joy, I think.
Yes.
So let's move on to that. Some tips for joy. Do you have any?
Yeah, here's a big one that I've been focusing on recently. I have been re-examining a lot of activities and passions from childhood that I either selectively forgot about or I've just put on the shelf for too many years because I needed to be an adult.
You
and
mean
I needed
like hula hoops and like things like that? No.
Well, yeah, in that vein.
Taking
yeah.
it back.
Yeah,
people,
in that vein. Like for me, I remember as a child, some of my favorite things were like writing goofy songs. So I've started writing goofy songs about my animals. Because why not, right? So I write these goofy songs about my animals. Or I've always loved just entertaining and making people laugh. So I started doing stand-up comedy recently, about a year and a half ago. And I loved playing basketball as a child. So it's like I'm starting to play basketball again.
That's great.
As a teenager and a little bit older, I loved riding motorcycles, and I haven't had a motorcycle for 7 years, so I'm buying a new motorcycle. These things have you see, people will be like, well, that's frivolous. Like, no, it's not. Here's why. Because not every single thing has to directly impact our career or our business or our success. To me, it's like, how can I reach back into my childhood joy of being in nature, going to the ocean, riding motorcycles, playing basketball, writing crazy songs about animals. Any of these things that connect me with that pure state of joyfulness where I'm not trying to get anything. I'm not trying to create a result. I do know this, though, that when I'm in my joy body more and I'm doing things that make me happy just for the sake of happiness, good things show up in my life.
So I'll just reiterate that, and I'll say that you're actually really nourishing yourself. So if you allow yourself to do the things that bring you a lot of joy, you replenish yourself. So from all the stress that you have, and it's like sleeping. When you let yourself do things of joy, you replenish yourself, and then you have energy to go
100%.
and kick it when you, hi kitty, when you go on set for 12 hours. So I like to pet animals. That gives me a lot of joy.
I see Julius's little head popping in.
Look at that little baby kitty. Okay. Tip. Oh, first of all, I can hook you up too. So my boyfriend has a motorcycle, and we just moved from Chicago to Los Angeles.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah. So we're new. We're totally new, and he's looking for someone who wants to ride.
What kind of bike does he have?
Oh dear. Hope this isn't out of my Intel range. A BMW.
Oh, nice. Great bike.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves
Yeah.
it. He did have a KTX. Does that ring a bell with you?
KTM.
KTM.
Yeah.
So see, I was
No, you're doing great.
He rode that from Chicago to Alaska.
Chicago
and back.
to Alaska.
Yeah, so we wanted like a dirt bike because he knew that on some roads there weren't. Yeah, and then when he got back from that trip, he sold that. He got a BMW, and he loves it. And there's some beautiful rides in California. Going out to Castaic. There's some beautiful rides up there. Obviously PCH and other places, but he likes to go deep in, and like he rode to Joshua Tree, and so
awesome.
So he does
a
day
riding
trips,
partner
and
then.
there you go, boom. So
Awesome.
you see, good things happen when you're in your joy. Now you got a riding partner. Awesome.
Awesome.
Do you have any tips for wellness? I mean, and we might be repeating ourselves. I don't know.
So
oh, is it? Okay.
Where do I even start with that? I'm a big believer in being a lifelong conscientious experimenter with wellness. And here's what I mean by that. I feel like people get caught up in formulas too much.
Okay.
If I just take this yoga class and eat this many calories and be raw vegan and do this specific meditation and do what that person on Instagram told me, then I'm going to be the best version of myself. Here's the deal. You have to be willing to find what is right for you. And the thing that I've learned from really focusing on wellness for 20 years is that what works for one person, their exact right puzzle that they've assembled, is not going to work exactly right for everyone. And there's this idea that I just need to do the formula that Dr. Oz told me, or Jillian Michaels, or Oprah, or Jason, or Elizabeth, or whomever, and that's just going to be the key to unlock unlimited wellness for the rest of my life. But the reality is this. We are changing every 7 years on a cellular level.
I've heard
on a
that.
cellular level,
Yeah.
we are a completely different physical being. Our cells regenerate completely every 7 years in a 7-year cycle.
Yes.
So what's worked for us, not only on a biological level 7 years from now, what's worked for us on a psychological or spiritual level, because we're ever evolving, ever growing beings, it can't be the same. The nature of life is change. The nature of life is growth and evolution. So I think the approach to wellness is try as much as possible. Try the superfoods. Try as many amazing foods. Travel to different countries. Try yoga. Try weight training. Try Pilates. Try meditation. Try other mindfulness. Try and experiment with as much stuff as possible, because the visualization I like to have is I'm like a superhero, like Batman, right? And Batman had his bat belt with all the different tools that no matter what situation he was in, he had a different tool.
Yes, right, yeah.
So I feel like wellness and healing and longevity is much like that, where we're experimenting with different things. So we assemble our tool belt, our superhero tool belt, that when we're feeling depressed or we're feeling lethargic or we're feeling maybe a little bit not our fullest, most greatest selves, we've got different tools to pull from to try new foods or wellness practices or exercises or mindfulness. And it's your puzzle and my puzzle and everyone's puzzle is different. One puzzle is not going to be the same for every single person. So that's I think that's the foundation of wellness, of conscientious experimentation and being willing to change.
So I'm going to riff off of this. I would agree with that, and I would add that the most successful people and the happiest people are people who can handle change, because
Absolutely.
life is constant change. And if you have your heels dug in and you're going to resist all the time and you're not prepared to cope with change, you're going to be deeply unhappy for as long as you're on this planet.
Absolutely. And I think it's because we are going against the nature of life.
Right.
And here, at least on this planet, this reality, it is constant change and evolution and growth. And in the next moment, all the chemical processes going on in your body right now, in your mind and your thoughts, it's constantly changing. So when we try to act like things are going to last forever, not only do we start taking things for granted, I think, subconsciously or consciously, when we act like, oh, this person will just be around. Yeah, she'll be around, he'll be around. Or my body's going to be in this state forever. Or the amount of money I have or don't have in my bank account, it's going to last forever. We forget that nothing lasts forever. I think the wellness approach has to be the same, where we've got to be willing. You mentioned improv, right? So I did improv years ago in Chicago when I lived there too.
Loved it,
right?
Yeah.
We're just, here's the big secret. We'll go back to Oprah, Tony Robbins, LeBron James. Think about anybody. Think about Gandhi, Martin Luther. It doesn't matter. Any human being who's been here. We are all just making it up as we go. And there's this thing that causes us so much pain where they're like, oh, that person on Instagram or YouTube on TV, they've got everything figured out. I wish I could be like them. Newsflash, they're making it up as they go too. Talk to any new parent. Like friends of mine, I'm at that age now, like everyone's having kids, right? And every single person I've talked to, if they're honest about it, they're like, we have no idea what we're doing.
Completely freaked out.
We have no idea what we are doing.
It's a free-for-all.
And we're just making it up as we go. And I feel like health is that way. Transforming our lives, our diet, our health, our relationships, anything that we want to evolve and grow and lean into. None of us, we're just all making it up. That's the good news, guys.
Yes.
Everyone's just making it up as they go.
And we're all on the same playing field, and nobody really has a clue.
No.
So you really can't screw it up.
You can't.
Because it's just a learning experiment anyway. I'll just kind of add to that, and that I'll say, when you focus on being like someone else, you immediately disempower yourself. Because you'll never be as good as they are at being themselves.
100%.
The only person you will really excel at being is yourself. In fact, you have the natural advantage. You already are 100% better than anybody else at being you.
Yes.
It's the area where you shine.
Yes.
You kick ass, so just be you. Because that's where
being you.
You kick ass at being. Like no one can be as good as you.
Yeah.
You've already nailed that, so go with that. It's your advantage, and you empower yourself when you take what you've got and you focus on that rather than focusing on other people and what they've got, because you'll never be as good at them as being them.
Well said. Yeah.
Who knows?
Well
Okay.
said.
Okay.
Well said.
So I've got my list of standard questions here, because we're just about to wrap up this interview, and some of them are one-word answers, but some of them require a little bit more. So I'm just going to shoot them off, and here we go. Okay. Favorite snack? It can be junk food or healthy. What's your favorite snack?
I'll give you like a bagged snack, and then I'll give you like off the shelf. So, oh my God, I really love. There are vegan Rob's has cauliflower puffs that are out there right now.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Ooh,
if
never
you guys
heard of
haven't
that.
tried this yet, Vegan Robs, they are probiotic cauliflower puffs.
Okay.
It is one of those things where the bag is gone.
Yeah.
Like you're like self-restraint, mindfulness out the window. Done. It is my favorite snack. My body is just like more. Like Cookie Monster, I'm like cauliflower puff monster, like cauliflower, just crazy. In terms of like a whatever kind of natural snack, I'm a sucker for like a Pink Lady apple and a jar of sunflower butter.
Sunflower butter.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
it's so
I never
good.
have that.
So good. It's so
I'm
good.
going to buy that.
I'll just get a giant apple and just dunk it in the sunflower butter, and I'm easy peasy. It's so good.
I usually do that with peanut butter, but I'm going to try it now with sunflower butter.
Yeah.
I'll just say dates. Dates. Can't get enough dates. Then sometimes I have dates and cashews. Sometimes I have dates and vegan chocolate. But dates are in there somewhere.
What's your favorite kind of date, though?
Oh, the medjool date that are called wet dates. So they're hand-picked when they're so expensive. Luckily, I can't have them all the time. But they're so expensive because people hand-pick them when they're in this state of wetness. They're like
caramel.
Yes, it's so good. It's off the charts, people. I should have brought some. Luckily, it's a seasonal thing because then they stay on the. Are they on trees? Oh God,
they are on trees.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Phew.
Yeah. The date palm.
The date palm, and then they get drier, and that's when they're usually picked. So you have to go in and hand see when they're ready. So that's why they're so expensive. Okay, we're moving on. What item are we always going to find in your fridge? Oh, let's go. He's going in the fridge, people. He'll be back right in a second to tell us. Fridge is opening. Jury's out. Hold on.
I mean, boy.
Report back.
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce.
Avocados.
Avocados.
And non-dairy milk of some varietal.
Oat milk. And oat milk.
Oat milk.
So we've been trying to find oat milk for coffee. Everybody says that's the best.
It is the best.
Awesome.
This is also the kitten, but he doesn't go in the fridge.
Oh, no, we're not doing that. Okay, what is your go-to meal? You've had a really busy, long day. You've been on set for 12 hours. You know that you're just exhausted. You can make it in 10 minutes. It's always good. Go-to meal.
Oh, I'm a big fan of just like a really nice rainbow veggie bowl. So in my steamer, you have like the steamer that goes on top of the saucepan. I'll throw in cauliflower, broccoli, kale, carrots, maybe some green beans, put it in the steamer. I mean, that takes 12 minutes, maybe 15. I'm cooking some quinoa or some brown rice. I might make a quick tahini sauce with some lemon and apple cider vinegar, a few spices and tahini. And then I just make like a really nutrient-dense grain and veggie bowl. Like that, to me, just a really good bowl.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong with that. It's so nourishing. And so quick.
And so quick and so filling.
Yeah.
You really feel like you've done something good for yourself.
Yeah.
And you feel it. Like you feel full and complete.
And even when you're exhausted at the end of the day, you can somehow pull out the mojo to spend 20 minutes making a bowl. You just like, I can take 20 minutes and do this.
This is going to be good.
Yeah.
So we know the answer to this. Do you have any pets? He has 4 cats and 1 dog.
I do.
Do you think they're any different than farm animals?
No, I don't. And I have spent a lot of time. I used to volunteer at a farm in Michigan called Sasha Farm, and I've been to Farm Sanctuary and been to Gentle Barn, and they respond to energy and they respond to affection and they respond to emotion, whether they are companion animals or farm animals, the exact same way. When I look into the eyes of a goat or a chicken or a cow, and I look into their eyes, I mean, I see the same emotional content. I see them respond to positivity and love. I see them respond to hate and violence. I mean, I believe all sentient beings respond to love and positive energy, and they respond to energy and negativity and they all respond the same way. That's what I've observed over the course of my life. And ultimately, one day I do want to have land. I live in LA. I mean, I have a backyard and I have a front yard, but I want to have land so I can adopt more animals. I mean, right now I'm at like 5. We're good with 5 right now. We're great.
It's a little farm.
In a 1,200 square foot, we're good. But ultimately, I do want to have land because we talk about that stuff I talked about at the beginning of this broadcast of reconnecting with my childhood dreams and the childhood joys. My mom, if she's still on the feed, she would drag me kicking and screaming out of the pet store as a child because I wanted to adopt all of them.
Yeah, that's me.
And that's still, I'm doing what I can, being vegan and educating people on plant-based nutrition and mindfulness and love and rescuing these guys. I'm just doing what I can. I want to do more, and when I have more land,
you'll do more.
I don't know, be a cow, donkey, chickens. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
It's wonderful. I'll just riff on that again, like I've been doing so much here. They feel joy and pain just like companion animals do, and they also suffer just like humans do, just like companion animals
Absolutely.
do. And so who wants to increase suffering?
Yeah.
I don't want to increase it for me, for you, or for animals.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you know your true purpose in life? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, I go back to the beginning of this. It's to bring joyfulness and healing and reduce suffering. No matter what I'm doing, whether that's making people food, I want to heal them and bring them joy and amazement. Whether that's being on stage and doing stand-up or music or improv, I want to bring joy. Whether that's the simple act of being with a friend who's in need. Like, this is the simplest thing in the world. That we can offer ourselves as a safe haven of love to someone in our life who needs it. I just want to be of service and bring joy and healing and reduce suffering. That is the mission. No matter what I'm doing, that is the intention.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I think the beauty of that, the same goes for you guys. When you align with your life's mission, then it's a circle that keeps on giving. You become more fulfilled. You get to do it more. You have more energy to do things. You touch more people. You feel better about yourself. You continue to touch more people, and it just grows and gives and gives. So
Absolutely.
When you find your alignment, you're like 150% of yourself.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's real power.
That's real
That's
power.
real power.
I love that. That is real power. Okay, so some of these questions are a little bit similar, but they're different enough that I want to ask you. If you could be known for one bit of change in the world, what would that be?
Wow. That's a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. If I could be known for one bit of change in the world. That's tough.
Okay, we can come back to it.
That's tough.
Okay.
No, I think it's interesting. I don't know that I've ever thought about it in those terms of like after I pass from this world, like what I wanted to be known for. I mean, honestly, it's that I brought a lot of laughter and joy and healing to this world. That it just goes back to that people would look back on my life and say, like, when he came into a room or he was on a feed or when I was with him, I just felt better when I was around him, and he brought me something wonderful just being in his presence. That's it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Again, this is sort of similar, but a little different. What do you wish you knew 10 years ago that you know now?
Wow. That was 2008. I mean, on a pragmatic level, I wish I knew more about investing and financial abundance and financial health. I wish I knew more about compound interest. I wish I had the tools 10 years ago to invest and take my finances a little more seriously and have a little more money education. That's number one on a very pragmatic level.
Yeah, no, that's a smart one, though.
On a secondary level, I think, I wish I would have had more of the tools to trust life more. And I feel like when I was in my 20s and 30s, I felt a lot more anxiety about life of, does any of this have meaning? Is any of this going anywhere? Are all of my efforts going to result in something good in life? Am I just wasting my time? I mean, my 20s and 30s were filled with a lot of doubt and a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. And, even a few years ago, I went through a bout of depression. But 10 years ago, I wish I could have imparted in some way on my younger self the tools to know that everything really is going to be okay, and a lot of those stress management techniques and a lot of the mindfulness that I'm now practicing. I would have just been like, dude, it's going to be okay.
It works itself out.
Everything is going to be okay.
Yes.
You don't need to stress this much.
Yes.
I think, I would have been a good friend to my
To yourself?
10-year-old. Yeah, exactly.
But
a better friend.
I think we could all use that friend in ourselves. I think that's a great skill to have, great training to have. Ultimately, there are very few benefits with getting older, but I'm here to say as an older person, that's one of them.
Absolutely.
Right? When in time you start to realize like, I got this. Oh yeah, I've been tripped up before. I'll make it through. I got this.
And also caring less about what other people think.
So completely. Yes.
I'm now feeling in my early 40s that the things that I used to lose sleep over and be so concerned about what other people thought about me. First of all, what they think of me is none of my business. Number two, it has everything about their biases and their perspective and their belief systems. It has nothing to do with me. So A, I'm taking things a lot less personally.
That's good.
And B, I just don't care what people think. And not in a nihilistic way, not in like a punk, like, I don't care what you think, like feigning confidence, but genuinely realizing that, like, I care more about what I think of myself. Like, am I sleeping okay at night? Am I living in alignment with my ethics and my values and what I purport to be in the world? Am I in alignment with that? Because here's the thing. People are going to love you. They're going to hate you no matter what you do. Like, it does, like, the good you're going to do in this world, you will get an equal amount of lovers and haters. You're not going to avoid the haters. You're just not.
Yeah. The haters going to keep on hating.
Haters going to keep hating. So
we know it.
It's good to detach ourselves from this sort of kind of thinking of, I'm going to do something to manipulate people into feeling a certain way about me. Right?
Letting go of that.
Like the people pleasing, or I'm whatever it is. We all play this game of, I'm going to show up and do things in life to try and get something from someone else, or avoid pain, or avoid judgment. But here's the thing, we're not going to avoid pain, and we're not going to avoid judgment. That's going to come no matter what we're doing. So you may as well do what you want to do and live from your heart and do your thing, because all that's going to be there no matter what. Just don't pay attention to the noise, because it's just noise. The noise is going to be there. It's like the weather.
Yeah,
there's a thunderstorm coming through.
And it's passing.
Oh, there's the haters.
There it goes. Yeah,
there they are. There they are.
They're up in a cloud. They're moving on.
They're just passing through.
I totally agree with that. It's your life. You got to live your life because it is yours. So don't give it away to somebody else and what they're thinking or not thinking. Who cares? Here's another great benefit of age. I said to myself, I just don't have enough energy because life kept getting more complicated and more things. My phone kept popping up. And I was like, I'm going to get rid of what people think about me because there's just not enough time. And I was like, woo, that's out the window.
So
it
easy,
saved
right?
me boatloads of time.
Yeah.
So I was really happy about that.
Yeah.
Okay, last question today. What are your predictions for the future? That could be 10 minutes from now, 10 years from now. It could be about animals or vegans or food or your career, whatever. I know, blowing your mind, whatever you would like. What are your predictions for the future?
I see the world continuing to wake up. I see that people are going to continue to realize that the old way of doing things is no longer working. And I'm a big believer in the Buckminster Fuller quote that said, and I'm going to paraphrase, but instead of trying to change the old world or change the world as it is, create a new world so the old one becomes obsolete.
I like that.
So I'm not here to change the world. I'm not here to change anyone. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is not to change the world. My responsibility is not to change anyone. But what I do want to do is live and act and be as I see the new world.
Oh, I like that.
That's what I'm focused on.
I will now be quoting him in my future interviews like I quote other people. Okay, I'm taking that.
That to me is much more effective in how do we co-create a new world that is based in love and acceptance and compassion and health and honesty and authenticity, instead of I've got to change the world. I firmly believe that's barking up the wrong tree, because that's meeting so much resistance. But if I'm over here focused on how do I want to be an ethical, loving, honest, trustworthy human being, and surrounding myself with people that we're practicing that together, because it is a practice, then we're creating a new paradigm of how we relate to one another. So I do see that the world is going to go through a lot of changes. A lot of those changes are going to be painful. A lot of those changes are going to be scary. But I believe it's this sort of peeling back the old skin to reveal the new, which is a lot of pain can be involved in that. And I think a lot of the things we're seeing on the planet right now is just a cleansing process of peeling that old skin off so we can reveal something where we are more connected and more loving and more compassionate. So I'm very excited about the future. And I'm more excited about genuine human connection, right? Is like, people are like, oh, well, all the kids and everyone's like this now and everyone's disconnected. Cool. Well, guess what? Let's spend more time in person with people then, right? Yes. Let's call up a friend we haven't seen in a while. Let's go on a trip and see our parents or our family maybe we haven't talked to in a while. Like, let's get genuine human connection as a priority in a world where technology, like, this isn't going to stop. People are like, oh, social media is evil. No, none of this is evil. Money's not evil. Social media is not evil. It's just, how do you want to stay connected and open your heart and create a world that you believe in. That is my only concern right now. Everything else is BS to me.
What we can do is hop on and help him create a new world. I'm down with that. I am in for creating a new world and no longer, thank you for this. This is my huge takeaway from this talk. The last question, no doubt, I'm not going to try to change things anymore. Too much resistance. Of course, I'm being a part of making a new world.
Absolutely.
I'll just add that I see the future. I'm also hopeful, which, people could say like, yikes, what's there to be hopeful about? I'm hopeful because I think it's the time of the individual. I think no matter how you voted, to the right or to the left, people are really realizing, oh, government doesn't care about me. Ain't nobody caring about you but yourself. And you've got the internet and you can research not what the USDA says or not what, government's telling you or politicians are telling you or interest groups are telling you or lobbyists are telling you or marketing ads are telling you. You now have the tools to go get that information for yourself, to educate yourself on what is best for you. And what is best for you, here's the big win, is also the best thing for the planet, your wallet, and animals. Jackpot. Jackpot. And so I think it's the time of the individual, and change happens not from the top, because governments aren't waking up and saying, let's do something nice for people today. No. Change happens from the bottom. It happens from the ground up, and that's us.
Yeah.
And we can be a part of that every day, 3 times a day, by just choosing what we eat. We're already a part of the revolution easily. You don't have to pick it. You don't have to upset your life. You just take your little fingers in the grocery store and you move them over here and you buy almond milk instead of milk. And you are part of changing the planet and creating a new world, because now we're creating a new world. You're a part of that easily. And you're part of the solution, not the problem. And it's just not that hard when you put that sort of mindset on it. So I'm very hopeful because I think it's the time of the individual.
Yes.
Not the groups and not the government.
Yes.
So rock on, power to the people, power to the animals, power to Jason. Thanks, honey, thank you for being here. This was so super fun. You guys, you can get Eternity on Amazon. You can go to jasonwrobel.com. That's with a W, W-R-O-B-E-L. So jasonwrobel.com. And you can get his ebooks and you can sign up for his classes. What class do you have starting that people could sign up for?
Well, I have some group coaching programs available right now. So
good.
I do one-on-one coaching with people, but then I also do group coaching if people want something a little broader.
Sure.
And then also I am going on tour this fall. So if people want to see me live, I'm going to be on the East Coast in September. I'm going to be in Japan in October. I'm doing the Wellspring Conference in Palm Springs. I'm doing Seed in Miami. So I'm still doing the live touring thing. But the coaching has really been awesome because I get to really just dig in deeper with people, because once people have food on lock, right? And I'm like, awesome. Like, let's dig a few layers deeper and see where else maybe, you're in resistance or you're in pain. So yeah, if you guys want to check out my website, it's Jason Wrobel. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Pinterest. I'm easily stalkable.
So go stalk him. And I'll just add to that, if you have not subscribed to Awesome Vegans on iTunes, oh, you silly things, go ahead and do that right now. You can also find me and all my stuff on my YouTube channel, Elysabeth Alfano. I have launched a new website, and it has all my recipes and my cooking demos. It has all my aging backwards tips, because I'm not telling you my age, but it's more than you think. So I've got all my aging backwards videos, and then I've got all my awesome vegans interviews with some great people like Jason and Moby and Olympic athletes and many, many people. So you can go to my new website, ElysabethAlfano.com, but more importantly, go to jasonwrobel.com. We're out of here. I hope you learned stuff. I sure did. See you next time, people.
Thanks,
and
guys.
don't forget to be vegan. Bye.